You know, I was going to say something clever, but I was so caught off guard by that weak as shit that the song fucking had that I don't know where to go from there. I don't know where to go. Oh, hi, I still have the monster mouth. Hi. Anyway.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Cast bread over every egg.
How are we doing today, chat? How are we feeling? How is your Wednesday, your hump day, your Wednesday? How dare you insult Prince? It did not feel good, okay? It did not feel good. I'm not gonna lie though, I think Prince is a little overrated. Does Prince have good songs? Yes. Is this one of them? It's your birthday. You're officially old. Congratulations. Not just Warframe. Wait, you hate Warframe? Why do you hate Warframe? Also, I'm still sniffly, so I'm still like kind of like stuffed up at times. Is this one of them? I personally say, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. The only way I can think to describe it to my brain is the song feels hollow. It feels like there needs to be more to it. Just not a fan of fetish. Wait, fetish games? What? How far into Warframe? I've done all the main story. We did the last of the main story. We did it on Monday. I like my fetish organic. You don't like your biomechanical fetish? What's wrong with you? How could you say that? How could you say that? Hold your goddamn horses. Hold your goddamn horses. You can't say that. Oh, that's not the right page. I forgot I still had that one. That's hilarious.
What's your pleasure?
You can't
What's your
say that
fear?
about the Jamussy. That's illegal. Wait, did we drop to 63? What the fuck? Oh, that can't be right. It says, that says 72 subs. Or the Corbus. Old page, yeah, the old page. I saw you, Ganon. I just didn't say hi. Okay, who wants a hi? Who wants a hi? Oh, Fausty Poo. No, I'm not good at saying that. Oh my goodness. Fetish game, but this isn't Nike. True. It is not Nike. Hi. Hi, Murdoch. Hi, Light. Hi, Rooster. Hi, Tuka. Hi, Prey. Hi, Desecration Demon. Hi, Pitthin. Hates me. I don't hate anybody. No, wait, I take that back. There are people I hate, but I don't really hate anybody on, like... I almost said on Twitch, but that's also not true. Anybody else? Anybody else want to hi? Anyone else? Grins? Grins, do you want to hi? Is that what this is? You don't hate people that much? Baron hates her lead. I said nothing of the fucking sort, Sunstar. Nothing even close. How dare you? How dare you insinuate such? Where would you possibly get that idea? I'm sorry. Is that a golden Capitrain? Well, shit. I had a bad day not to have the like discount on. Chat, you better get it to level 5. You bet. Oh, do I need to make promises? Do I need to start making
What's your
promises?
pleasure? What's your fear?
Oh, there's a Sunstar saving the tier 3 for the moment it popped off. Alert the Discord. I got you. I got you. Hold on a second. Ooh.
What's your pleasure?
Well, that's level 3
What's your
already. Holy
fear?
shit. I'm waiting for it to go back to the part. Okay, there it is. Okay, hold on. Announcements. And of course, I need the megaphone. Okay. Why is it taking so long to load? My internet's been on the fritz, like, since last night. I think I need to restart it, like, later tonight. God, I also need to figure out something that I could actually do for these hype trains. I never actually finished making that Hype Train playlist either. What do we need to turn on? What should I turn on? Do we just blare Dracula? Is that what we do? Do we just put Dracula on loop and just blare that? How many type of hype trains do we need? More. I've never had a treasure train. Wait, I forget. Is the treasure train's what people call a scam train, isn't it? I don't remember. I've never had a treasure train, but I forget which one is called the scam train.
What's your pleasure? What's your fear?
Oh, it overlaps. Huh. Treasure trains when you get a discount? I think it is, but I think it's also lights. Holy shit, thank you for 5 good subs. Sector, thank you for renewing yours. Windsor, thank you for renewing yours for 6 months. Holy shit, dude. Wait, no, 19 months. And 5 months. Okay, I got you. I don't know if there's any others. Hi, Index Page, how are you doing? I don't know if there's any other types. There used to be the other kind of hype train, the boost train or something, but I think they got rid of that one. They got rid of that one after a while because people were basically constantly triggering hype trains in order to get more boost trains in order to boost their streamers. And Twitch was like, no, that's not fair. You can't keep using the system we made so that you would give us money so that we would boost your channel. Okay, then what was the point? What was the point? Oh yeah, it was a couple years ago. There was a thing called a boost train that, depending on how high the train went, it would boost where the channel was seen. Why am I suddenly getting a whole bunch of... Nothing. Okay. You dare be popular and make us money, you must die? They had it for 6 months? 6 months, I think. Something like that. It was something like that. And then they got rid of it. Just gone. What makes the gold hype train happen? It's random. It's rare. And if you gift to it, you get the golden kappa. So if you do kappa, normally it's like that. Yeah, it's gonna replace your kappa. It's basically a goofy, silly, one of the most original emotes on Twitch. And it'll turn it gold. My job held me up. Beef, how could you? How could you be late? Better than the golden kappa? That makes sense. I mean, it also only lasts 24 hours. How much time do we have? It's stuck on unlock random emote for me. 2 minutes. Well, just under 3 minutes. Is that... I forget, for hype trains, are we on level 5 or are we past level 5? We're on level 5, right? So if you fill the bar, that counts as completing level 5. Yeah, the gold's for 24 hours. Spin? Real punishment? Hold on. Oh, I got you.
A lovely gift from the beauty up front.
Oh, what the fuck is that? Horses! Hi, thank you, Vero. Holy shit. We're just gonna turn this up a little bit. I haven't listened to this song in forever. Horses! Oh my goodness. Is Fun penguin.
What's
Oh,
your
shit.
pleasure? What's your fear?
Wireframe. Hey, T-Stone got one. We gotta make up the subs. We gotta make up the subs for all the ones that we missed on the 2 weeks before. Nope. Ah. My hair's falling in my face now. Oh my goodness. Grins. All right. All right, hold on. I know what we need next. I know what we need next. This is gonna be so funny for fucking for the VOD when they hear fucking nothing. It's gonna be so bad. It's gonna be so bad. They're probably just gonna hear my fucking like breathing or some shit when I'm bobbing my head. Emote only. Stop dissociating. Never, never. It's weird. I know it's weird. It's a very weird moment. The train's gonna run out. Train's gonna run out, chat. We're gonna have to go back to doing normal shit. Ooh. Or Sunstar can save it.
What's your fear?
Or Sunstar can save it.
A lovely gift from the beauty.
Oh,
up
what the hell
front.
did chat just do? Oh, it freaked out when you did the combo thing. Okay. Thank you for the 45 bits, Vorshell. All right, chats. I don't think this is going fast enough. I don't think we're going fast enough on this one. So I think I know exactly what we need for this. Let's see how long it takes. How long does it take you to notice?
A lovely gift from the beauty out
Let's go,
front.
Beef. Boy, I hope you recognize it. Oh, my tracking's not keeping up anymore. Uh-oh. All right, chat, you better know what to do here. You better know what to do here. If y'all keep this going, I'm gonna bring back another old Twitch meme that I'm gonna see if any of y'all remember. If we make it at least halfway through this song, we will swap to the other song I want to hit. Hi, Fairbanks. All right, chat. If we keep this going at least long enough to jump to the other song, I think you're gonna like it. Max bit for fun. Max bit. Maximum bit. Yo, you want maximum bit? Oh, we'll maximum bit. Give me a second. Sorry, gas is canceled, chat. We need this. All right, who knows it? Who knows it? I need to see who knows this song. Who knows what you're supposed to do when we get to the chorus? Y'all better go find it. If you don't know what to do, you better go find it. Somebody better get the copy pasta. It's pumping. Adrenaline is pumping. Radar. Automatic lover. Atomic. Overdrive. I hope one of y'all got the copy pasta. There you go. Y'all better grab it. Y'all better grab it. Buckle up, Buttercup. I want to see if y'all can do it. Yeah. Come on, you can spam it. You can spam it. Get to it. Yeah. So sorry.
What's your pleasure? What's your fear?
Oh my goodness. All right, do we need it again? Or do actually, hold on, I have a better idea. I have a word. I say better, it's actually far worse. It's actually far worse. Hold on, hold chance. Y'all are gonna hate me for this. I know you are, but it's gonna be funny. I think this is the right one. This has to be the right one. Oh no, not the boat! so stupid. I'll do it.
There's our man. There's our man.
I'll do it.
There's our boy.
Fairbanks.
Oh my God! Okay, it's
Oh, we could do that.
Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody, calm down.
Just the fucking E. All right, so we need to break the Europeans out for a second after this one ends. It's only a couple more seconds. I saw that once and it's lived rent free in my brain anytime I hear. Anytime I've
What's your
heard.
pleasure? What's
All
your
right.
fear?
Where is it? No, we can't do that one. We'll do the other bits. We'll do the other bit that y'all had to mention, that you had to bring up.
What's your pleasure? What's your fear?
Dog goes wolf, cat goes meow, dart goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak. Elephant goes toot. Wait, did we get a spam? Did we get a spam redeem? Oh my god, we did get a spam mode redeem. All right, chat, you have full rights to go full spam mode. You can, when I say spam, you can absolutely rail it out. God, I remember when this song fucking came out. Hattie, 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 ho. What does the fox say? Oh my god. Chasing mice and digging holes, tiny paws up the hill. Suddenly you're standing still. Oh my goodness. Walla booty! Listen, if we keep it going, I have another song. Another song that came out around the same time. That, I don't know, I think if y'all are around the same age I am, that I think you would still enjoy it. Or Dane's theme song. It's the thing is Verstappen's theme song is not like particularly long. Oh, I agree with it. I agree. Oh my god, I forgot about this one. Shut your mouth, Fairbanks. Shut your mouth, Fairbanks. Oh, no, there it goes. All right, chat. Whoop. It's done. It's done. It's over. Music's over. Hype train finished. Damn, guys, though. Thank you. Oh, I got 2 emotes. Holy shit. I got the goofy ass fucking doodle bob clap. All right, guess they're going back to the funk playlist. We're going back to the funk playlist, boys. Okay, that's kind of funny that that was the first song that came up. You, me. Just shot a flare only berries. We'll see. It's fine. It's fine. What did I do, Queens? What did I do? What have I done? All right, I woke you up after an hour to play Warframe. Wait, what? How did I wake you up? Oh, I would love to have a version of me dance. You mean like the Warframe dance that they're doing? I don't know how you did it, but I know it was you. What do you mean? I went to sleep last night, like before midnight. Okay, no, it wasn't. It was after midnight. It was like 12:15. Audio. If it had audio, I'd know. Actually, I forget. If you clip it while it's live, does it have the audio? Or does it cut it? This is just in the funk playlist. This was just in the funk playlist I had open, and it was the first thing that played. Oh, no. It keeps it there because it's for the Goonblin rave clip. Oh my god. Where does Marin have ref sheet before I go? I believe it's in Discord. There's a reference page in Discord. It's also pinned on Twitter. God, is today just gonna be a jam session? I'm having a good time just jamming. You know what this needs? This needs a little bit of Stevie Wonder. The audio isn't. Clips do not keep the audio on track 2 when it's ignored. Okay, I just want to make sure. Hell yeah, Murdoch. Friends on the wall. Very superstitious. Batter's about to fall. Who's about to go burst out superstition on me? You can't run from the MP. You can't run. Let's turn it up a little bit more. Bad luck. Good things in your past. Oh yeah, I was raised on like 60s, 70s, 80s. Superstition ain't the way. Hype Train was a bit chaotic, so it was missed, but have you played the... I don't know what that song is. I have no idea what that song is. If that's a song. If that's a song, I have no idea what that is. iRobot. Was it played in iRobot? Enjoy your lurk, queens. No, I haven't. I don't think I've heard of it. Let me look it up while we're jamming. What was it? Heilwald loophole. Curious loophole? Interesting. No, I haven't played this game, but it sounds moderately interesting. We'll save it. We'll save it to the wish list. I don't have any money for new games right now. In fact, I have 10 push-ups. Oh, man. All right, hold on. Making me do this, swear to God. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I'm doing very important business stuff. It's still jamming. Do you not jam while you're doing business stuff? Is that not the case? Is that not the case? All right, hold on. Let's see if there's another one I recognize in here. Ooh. Walk the Dinosaur. You know what? Sure. Let's see what this one is. Stop dropping bankers. Never. Never. Picked up a monkey skull to go. Oh my goodness. I haven't heard this song in so long. This is Spotify. This is Spotify. On the floor, everybody do the dinosaur. Open the door, get on the floor. Oh, I do owe real spin? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Who do I owe it to? I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. That works for me. On the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. Hi, Coco. Hi, baby. How are you? Compliment self. I'm having a wonderful time today. That's not good enough. I don't think that's definitely not good enough. My ass is fat. Is that a good enough compliment? I feel like that's a good enough compliment. My ass is fat. Baby. Warframing. Sorta. We're gonna get there eventually. We've been jamming the whole time. Hmm. Slap that booty. Illegal. Ooh. Hmm. Okay. Artists, get on it. I mean, we already have the dead. Dead. Silently wiggling? Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. If you wanted to, be, if you could grab the song and put it over. I mean, we also have the. Let me go get it. Open door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. That's we don't have that emote on Twitch though. Sadly. Izzy had hers on Twitch and it got removed, and I don't want to do that because I like having my free emote uploads. Is that in Saints Row? Is that song in Saints Row? You know what we need? Chat, did your parents teach you about the birds and the bees? I have a question though. Did they teach you about the birds and the Bee Gees? Here, we'd never be able to get bigger. We'd never be able to get the go bigger emotes. When I was younger, I used to actually try to sing Bee Gees songs, but the more I tried to do it, the more it would hurt my voice. Yeah, you do if you use the if you're an unlisted user, then because for some reason it won't let me list it. I guess. No. Although I think I saw them in this. Didn't I? I swear I saw one of their songs in this mix. I think it was wrong. I think it was wrong. We have funk nights at the lounge. We have funk nights at the lounge. We have disco nights. Those are two separate things. Those are two separate nights. Good song, dude. Just good song. Do we need disco? Chat. Wait, a bunch of the same songs are in here. Rick Astley is in here in this playlist for some reason. Jazz? I do like jazz. We definitely do have a jazz night. Needs Zisku right now? Right now? You say right now, right now. Okay. kind of wish I had 3D model tracking right now. Kind of wish I had it. There's a lot of songs in here that don't really remind me of disco. Mm. Oh, In the Navy is in here. This is not a very good disco playlist. Oh, this is better. This is better. Ooh, a Cool in the Gang song. Necrojammer? Necrojammer, baby. I'm not dropping any frames. And my connection is good. I wish I had like a rainbow filter or something. I wonder. I don't see it. Nope, I don't see anything. It could be in here. It's a pretty long playlist, but this says 1970 specifically. Satellite tracking isn't so sensitive. You can see the little micro hops. This is one of those moments where it spontaneously turns into like a fucking dance festival that I really wish I had full body tracking. Damn, it's gonna be fun in the future though. It's gonna be fun in the future. All right. Next. Let's see if anybody else is a Cool in the Gang fan. Bigger? What do you mean bigger? There's an interesting song in here that I guess I supposedly could count as disco. '80s night. Dance jam session. I mean, today wasn't going to be a jam session, but then we just started having fun in a golden kappa train, and it was just on and on and on. Also, hold on, Coco wants out. Give me a second. Okay. Hold on. I don't think I can use abilities in here, can I? No, I can't. No, I can't. Coco's the mutt. She's just a mix of tons of things. Sometimes we just call her a cow dog. Hold on. Do we need to break out the whitest person disco music? Yes, 100% purebred, good girl. Oh, it's in here. It's in here. Rapper's Delight is in here. Here, but we're gonna break out a song that I'm sure almost every single person knows. And yes, we are gonna cut it off. Fairbanks already do it. You can drive. Oh my goodness. Damn, the hand movements on the Warframe were almost in sync. Almost in sync. Friday nights and the lights are low. Oh my goodness. Play the funky music, white boy. I can break that one out too. Ganon, no uppies. It's jam session. Come on. Come on. All right, let me find the other one you just mentioned. Young and sweet, only 17. Is it bad that I've never seen the movie that this one is known for being in? Mamma Mia, that's it. That's the movie. I've never seen Mamma Mia. Do I need to make an exclamation mark uppies command? All right, we'll jam our way through the ad break, because I also need to go turn over laundry and hit the bathroom in a minute, and then we'll get back in. We're still going to be listening to music, but we're going to like turn it down. We're actually going to play the game. Oh, I am not surprised. I am not surprised, Valk. Yes, I know it was a musical. I knew it was a play beforehand. We have to game during our jams. Well, I want to do some farming, and I need to steal people from chat to do that farming. I need vein thorns. I need to build Daggeth. Yes, I do. I do have a wish list. What are we yelling about, Ordained? What's the problem? What's the problem? Oh, Ganon's being weird. That's what it is. The party? That's what the event was called for the restaurant? Ooh. Daggets? No, Dagath. Daggeth. The faceless horse lady. I have all of her blueprints. All right. World-class poker face? Are you the dancing queen all along? I am not that good at dancing. I am terrible at dancing even. Because the number of times I've danced is like single digits. Did I just get an invite from Todd Howard? Todd Howard? Okay. A dancing practice playlist. Oh God. He's gonna sell Skyrim on you. No, no. What does that mean? Oh, you're talking about, you making a Skyrim reference. I get you. It's 7 minutes long. It's 7 minutes long. I can't see it. No, I get that. I have the same thing when it comes to, like, my internal cringe meter. I cringe very easily. And especially for myself. Especially for myself. Oh yeah, we're grooving. We're grooving through the ad break. I'm gonna leave y'all with the playlist. Because I need to go flip over my laundry to the dryer and I need to run to the bathroom. So Citrine here is gonna be in charge. Start dancing, I ruined the moments? Yeah. I don't think I've listened. I haven't heard this song in a long time, but even then, when I heard it before, I don't think I ever listened to it. Laundry during stream? Well, I mean, I always throw it in before stream because I come home from the gym, I take off all of my gym clothes, I throw them in the hamper, I take a shower, and then I start laundry. Or if a dance is choreographed. Exactly. Exactly. I say Master Chief. What, I walk into disco? Two-headed hat again? My fucking hat, dude! Throws it in before stream, huh? What have you done? What have you done? Ooh! Let's go! Let's go! Yeah, I only wanted. Oh, y'all can't see it. I only wanted the Signa. If so, do you play Ragnos? You're not supposed to know that. Is it that obvious? Is it that obvious? Is it that obvious? Todrick Howard? Yeah, thank you, Todrick Howard. Thank you, Conject. Thank you. Yeah, I have basically no Signas. Well, actually, I just got this one. I just got this one like 2 nights ago. So it's nice to have another one, especially the like floating horns. They're kind of cool. And they fit with a couple of my other Warframes. All right, chat.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
All right, hold on, kids. All right, ad break's finally here. We're gonna turn it down just a little bit.
Step inside.
Michael Cross, Saint Serrano, thank you for the follows. Welcome in, you two. And then let me do a couple of things here. All right, chat. I'm going to leave you with the stream pairs game, and I am going to go flip my laundry and run to the bathroom. And then we'll jump right into, if anybody wants to join me for farming the Abyssal Zone, I have all of the beacons. You just have to join the group. The game Blippo? No, I have not. I'll look into it when I get back. And squat, motherfucking Tuka, I swear to God. Anyway. What are y'all on about? What are y'all talking about in here? Huh? Huh? All right. Boop. Let's go ahead and bring that down just a bit more. All right, chat. Well, y'all are doing that last round. Who wants to join me? Who wants to join me for doing Abyssal Zones shit? Because let me go. Stop dancing. Oh, good lord. Okay, never mind, we're good. If I wasn't at work, I'd be down. No, it's fine. We'll be on later tonight. I'll probably be playing more later tonight. Maybe, or I'll be working on editing. Wait, I forget. Do I have a thing tonight? No, I have a thing tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow night. Y'all failed. Chats. We talked about this. How could you? How could you? What do you have to say for yourself? You'll join? Have you already added me? Have you already added me on here, Tuka? Don't look at me. I was on Kirby. That's exactly the problem, Vapor. That's exactly the problem. You're supposed to be playing the flag matching game. Sunstar was cheating? How was Sunstar cheating? We talked about this, but in our defense, we weren't listening. You bastards. Do you ever listen to me? Ever? Chat, are you listening to me right now? Are you listening right now? Do we need to have this conversation? Chance? They just do? That's not how cheating works. Unless Sunstar's over here doing performance-enhancing drugs. Chat never wants to play the iPad when it matters. I know, they only do it when I yell at them, which is not how that's supposed to work. Lies, Kirby can't compare to Flag Match? Yes, but you can play Kirby continuously. You can't play Flag Match continuously. You get 3 minutes every hour to play Flag Match. Please don't hit me. I'll consider it. I have not done the 20 squats. All right, hold on. I gotta do the squats. We gotta do the 20 squats. I saw it just as I was leaving for the commercial break, so give me a second. Rated up on flags and stealing the ones to try to match. Oh my goodness. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Is that the Copacabana? That's the Copacabana playing. What the fuck? All right. I can't unhear the "you are coping and seething." That's the version I keep thinking of. Actually, hold on, chat. I gotta show you that one. Where is it? Here it is. Here it is. All right. Accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. Truth, it is stalling, and now you are molding and coping. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's it. That's as long as it is. All right. How did Ganon dig his own grave this time? Hi, Big Boy Hammer. How are you doing? All right, chat. Who was it that was joining me? Tuka was. Tuka, do I already have you added? I have you added, right? Thrones. Well, that's Valk. Are you the Mad King? I remember this. Tia, she got fatso. She go fatso. I actually, I think if I remember correctly, it's one word from your language, but I keep reading it as she go fatso. Oh no, what have you sent me? What have you sent me? That's the two-headed you rat bastard. All right, hold on. You rat bastard. All right, chat. Do you want a meme? You're getting a meme. My current frame? No, it's Citrine. I do have Gyre Prime, though. This is my Citrine. And here's my Gyre Prime. That's it? I mean, it's the double hat thing. Y'all can't see it. I know I'm goofy. Anyway, there's my Gyre Prime. I like my Gyre Prime. Yoink. Okay. This is my hat now? Oh my god. Okay, fine. You can keep the hat. You can keep the hat. It's fine. Sure, for 2 heads. I'm sorry, I just really like looking at Citrine. She's also not like... Oh, that's right. I finished making Mesa Prime this morning. Okay, chat, hold on a second. We got a fashion frame. We got a fashion frame. Also, it always shows up like this. Oh, right. Ooh, it glitches through the whole thing. Do we dare? Do we have the massive horns? Ah, we'll go with none for now. We'll just color the frame. Oh, this is the... I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. We're still in decorations. That's red, baby. Actually, hold on. We may go brighter. That red. You. We'll go black. You. I really don't have like a lot of color options. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I think this one's also going to be red. Go darker. You know, the darker isn't that bad. This is obviously going to be darker gold. But... That works. Here. That's fine. We'll do that. We'll go with that. And then let's see. Attachments. Ephemera is the easiest thing to use. Do I want to give her the shattered pieces? Yeah, because it's kind of my favorite. To the car wash, yeah. Anyway. So bad she's the rootin' tootinest frame. She is absolutely the rootin' tootinest. That was... I got to do the Prime Vanguard boss fight once. I got to do it once. And I don't know if it's like one of them is just not supposed to engage in the boss fight when you're not doing Steel Path. But Mesa at the end of the fight was still floating in the air. Also, why are they so fucking big when they're in the air? I didn't realize watching other people's like videos. Oh, right, the regulators count as the weapon. Oh, and I can't change the color of the regulators until I unlock the skill for it. Shit. Shit. That's fine. That's fine. We'll go back to Citrine for now. Yeah, that's fine. I have to change the appearance because I have several. Can you tell which one's my favorite? You're standing by? Okay, I got you. I got you. Invites. Saturn has been mastered? Hell yeah. Alright, let me double check. Tuka, this is you, right? You wanted to join? You wanted to join, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where's Tuka? Where's Tuka? Tuka's dead! No, Tuka! I don't know. Is everybody else dead? Oh, I hit the Windows key. Oops, the daisies. Also, let me go delete the... You know what? Now we'll leave it there. It's fine. Having the announcement stay is totally fine in the Discord. Set his body on... Wait, whose body? Oh, Tuka's body? Oh, there's Tuka. Okay. All right, do we have anyone else? Anyone else that hasn't... That, like, wants to join but hasn't friended me? Anyone that's been here a little bit? Because I've tried doing this mission before, but apparently you have to do it with a pre-made group. And even if you're like really far into the game, you can totally just, you know... Oh wait, did Tuka join? I saw it say it sent the invite. Okay, there it is. All right, so T-Stone's coming. T-Stone, you are... Oh, I know the name. Sugar, right? You're Sugar Poo, right? I'm remembering that right? There's Sugar. All right. We got our group. It's navigation. So, this thing's a little weird. I forget. Is it... Here it is, Cirrus. So it has a 3 next to it because I have an item called an Abyssal Beacon. And you need to buy them to even go here. So we'll run the 3 and then I'll probably have to go buy more Abyssal Beacons, but I'm also capped out on rep for them, so I've got plenty of rep. Yeah, we're doing Abyssal Zone. Because I tried queuing it by myself, hoping I would get like a team or something. But it seems like this zone does not actually do auto matchmaking. No, you do not. Not everyone needs one. Only the person who starts it. And it's also, I'm the only one that'll end up using the Abyssal Beacon. Which is why I think it's like, it doesn't use matchmaking. All right, we're just waiting on T-Stone. Whenever T-Stone's ready. No rush. No rush. If you're setting something up. I am totally okay, too, with being carried through this. I just want the drops. I don't care how I get them. I just want the Vein Thorns. Because otherwise, I have no idea what the fuck is in this zone. I have never run it. Oh, no, Valk. What have you done? What have you done? All right, there we go. Yeah, I don't even remember what the objective of this one is. 3 red ships, technically. Whee! Who has the better bridal carry? Oh my god. I'm the one who's playing a support frame. All right, chat, do we want to keep doing disco or do we want to switch to like city pop? Do we want to get like jazz or something? Go back to the funk playlist? Or are we staying with disco? Is today a disco day? Is that the plan? Whee! Oh. Left the squad! Did you crash? Okay, it's extermination with something recovered. What are you? Oh, duh. Me forgetting for a second what an enemy looked like.
Theos are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on you or your warframe.
Okay. What are Defixios? Are they like just random little objects? Hey buddy, what are you doing? Hmm. You ruined the disco? Ooh. What was that? Oh, it looked like it was somebody's. Oh, it was Valk's ability, wasn't it? Who's hiding back here? Oh, is it you? Neat.
Get that Defixio to the extraction zone as soon as possible.
Oh, okay. It has negative effects, like, so if I use an ability, I take damage. Okay. Excuse me, coming through. Did I drop it? Oh no, I still had it. It just wasn't visible in my hand. Also, there's another one. Fuck you, trap. Hey guys. Bye guys.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Sure there. What the fuck is that shield? Ow, pain. Okay. Enjoy your work, Perry. Thank you for hanging out. Oh, there's a lot of guys beneath. I would use an ability, but I don't know how much damage it's going to deal to me. And if it bypassed your shields. You know what? Let's test it. Except I'm also centering, so, you know, I forgot that I can just heal myself. Yeah, this is the way we were heading. Extremist Stronghold active? What is that? Ow, pain. Does that mean there's just gonna be more Xmas units? Seems like it. Did the number of enemies needed to kill her is increasing. Okay. There's one, but we need 3. The thing is, I'm pretty sure there's always 3 on the map. Oh no, that's the... That's my tagged one for a second. Alright, go find the other 2 nerds. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure with this, it's every person that's in the group has to, or at least there's one for every person in the group. And I think I've seen a guide somewhere where somebody said that, like, you can find, like, cowering members, like, in places, and you can talk to them, and they'll, like, guide you to an area that it'll be in. What was that? But I haven't seen any of those people that are like hiding or cowering in a spot. Oh, wait, there's a ring. Oh, there it is. You know what? Somebody found somebody to talk to. Take damage as you move. Uh-oh. Oh, you know what? It's fine, because my fucking health regen is higher than the damage it deals. Citrine for the win. Citrine for the win. Where am I? Hello? There we go. I got lost. Okay. Yoink. I like the water parks and stuff. I have to go back and look. It's pretty good. Lol, maybe one of the water park ones. Oh, were you looking for clips? Is that what it is? Does somebody have the other one, or... We'll see. Sugar looking there, or... Oh! Okay, yeah, Sugar had it. Okay.
The Defixios are on their way to our trusted allies. Thank you, Tenno.
That works for me. Now, I don't remember how many drop per mission, but... Oh. Totally missed that earlier. There's a lot of celeries here. What the hell? Well then. Well then. Actually, I've got to check the rooms. We got to check the rooms. So if there's that many celeries, then you never know what you're going to find. All right. No worries. Okay, I figured that's what it was. I mean, there was a lot of clippable stuff from the water park
Mission complete.
sim games.
Excellent work, Tenno.
6. Oh, fuck. 6. We only got 6? Vi from season 2. Luckily, my design has been around longer than Vi's season 2. Well, Vi's arcane appearance. I am the original. All right, hold on. How many do we need for each of these? Because it's a lot more than that. 34 each. Fuck. All right, I'll have to look at you when we get back in the mission. And I will look at you this time. I'm sorry, I didn't look at you a second ago. Good. Okay. Do we need a resource booster? Do they drop? You farming for Dagoth? It'll take a while. Yeah. So we got 6 from that one. Does that mean we're getting 2 per person? I don't have Necros. I do not have Necros. Also, I was gonna say, do I need to invite somebody back? Do I need to invite somebody? Where do we get more keys for Abyssal? You have to buy them from the syndicate vendors. You have to be at least level 2 with any of the syndicates that are in the relays. Yes, Stuka? Do I need to invite you back? I missed why it disconnected before. Was everything all right? Hi, Noob. How are you doing? Or Necros to desecrate? Okay. I was gonna say, is it dropping from enemies or is it just like an end mission reward? I'll check the vendor after this run. The thing is, I don't think keys matter, do they? Having the keys matter? Because I'm pretty sure, according to the wiki page, it says that only the person who activates the mission uses the key. I don't have Steel Path. How much do you know about Mage the Ascension? Quite a lot. What's up? What's the question? What do you need to know about Mage the Ascension? Saw you in the recommendations, thought I'd drop by. Well, hell yeah, Pinu. I'm sorry I didn't respond to that earlier, but welcome in. Oh, right. Yeah, but I can activate the mission after you are done. Oh, I got you. Here, I can actually show you. Because we're going to need more. So you can just go to like any relay. I'm just going to go to the one where my Kuva is. Go to Strata Relay. Really quick. Your Warframe is frozen? I got you. I got you. We're going to do this just to show... Force it. Force it. Okay, is in mission rewards? Gotcha. Gotcha. So maybe it's 2 per Defixio, whatever it was. And then you can just go to... Where is it? Syndicates. I'm going to go to the ones that I'm friendly with, so we'll just go to New Loca. Offerings. I always sort by rank. And it's this. It's the Abyssal Beacon.
This we give to you.
And then I need to go to the parent sequence.
Good fortune.
Oh, not the right thing. That's the tenant thing. That's right.
These are our best deals. You have excellent
Okay.
taste.
Oh, shit. Oh, right. I forgot. I should have done that before. Should have got some blessings beforehand. I should have been dancing in the fucking relays. When I hadn't unlocked SP, so it took me a while. Oh, it's the only thing I have left technically for Steel Path is Kuva Fortress. Just like 2 of these nodes. But I do not want to do rescue by myself, so I hadn't done these because I couldn't get a group together for it when I was soloing. Hold on a second. I'm really petty when it comes to like the new nodes and stuff because I'll just be like, if I click it and I don't get a team and it doesn't like load me into a team, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this mission. Look behind you, on it. Good lord. Oh, that is the blood one. For a second, I thought it was the like kudzu one for a split second. What frame is that? Broken War. But is it? It's not Garuda because there's no claws. Oh, it is. It's Garuda Prime. Okay. Okay. Huh. That makes sense. That makes sense. Are the VOD actual play VODs? WOD actual play? Yes. Yes, they are. I believe they're on the mage ones are on Hectic's. Hectic, are you still here? Hectic, if you're still here, you can post the link to your YouTube for the sessions. I believe they're on YouTube. If you want the earlier stuff. If you want the earlier I don't think they're up to date if I remember right. Oh, we did lose somebody. Who did we lose? We lost Tuka again. Did Tuka say something? Did I miss it? Your PC froze. Is your PC okay? Is it having a stroke? A stronk? It's okay. I got you. Did that actually send the invite? Click, click. Could not deliver invitation. Weird. Archives in the year 2026? I still need to update our VOD archives. Yeah, well, let me send an invite. Okay, hold on a second. Redo it.
Well, look at you.
Yes, Shadows into Rockfield is the campaign. Yeah, apparently I can't send you an invite, Tuka. My PC 4s. Is it still frozen? Maybe you're like out of the game still, I'm guessing. Maybe, or you're back in the game. Are you back in the game? Need to add you on here. I'm just woefully behind on everything. That's totally fine. Can you give me a rundown of Mage League Ascension on like how the game works or like our specific campaign? Because like Mage is set in the world of darkness, obviously. We play as humans who underwent an awakening. If you want, I think all of the session zeros are on there too, right? Hectic, we streamed the session zeros too, right? I forget. I don't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure we streamed them. And you'll get to see the shenanigans that they got to put up with. And we're essentially humans that awakened to mind-bending powers based on our own beliefs. Well, Tuka closed the game. So I'm coming back. I gotcha. Is your game just having a meltdown? Mind-bending? Did I say mind-bending? I meant like no, mind-bending's right. Reality warping powers. Oh, okay. That works for me. Also, hold on, I got a sniffle. All right. Put your face in my face hole. Oh, shit. Affinity blessing. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, it says you're back in game. It also says you're back in the group. So we should be good. Should be good to try and use navigation. Go back. Go to Saris. All right. Are there clans mages? Yes. So, I believe 2 of us are orphans. One is the Aesthetic Brotherhood. And then the other was Verbana, but she's no longer a player. Hectic Time scares the hell out of me. How does Hectic scare you? Hectic is a sweet little being. A sweet goofball. All right. Ready, check. Is face hole 1 word or 2 words? 2 words. It's always 2 words. This isn't pie hole. This is face hole. NPC now? Yes, NPC now. She had to bow out because life got a little too hectic. We were in 2 campaigns together, actually. I can get scared when I want to, specifically when DMing, but that's the fun part. When the DM gets scary, that's when the fun shit's happening. Hello? All right, nobody DC. Nobody DC. Nobody DC! Whee! Where are the VTM archives? That would be GM the Game Monster. Can I get a shout out for GM? GM the Game Monster, all one word. You're not in this one, Neko, you goofball.
Hello?
Cool. Somebody already start getting shot? Oh yeah, they're right here.
Listen.
What are you doing?
Don't care about our mission. My team just wants to go.
Oh, there's one right here.
home. Clear out the
This is why you check the rooms, guys. This is why you check the rooms. Ammo depletes steadily. That's fine.
I'll show you where the nearest Defexio is. We want
All right, let's
nothing to do
go.
with those
We're gonna go all the way to the exit.
Be cautious. The Defixios are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on you or your warframe.
The hunt is on, Tenno. The synthesis scanner is detecting a potential target. Use it. Search for traces of the target.
That's down.
Get that Defixio to the extraction zone as soon as possible.
I'm working on it. This is why I like the Horus. The Horus Kubro. It's also really good when I'm trying to level frames and harder missions than they can technically handle. Cause technically, nah, fuck you. You get nothing. Nothing, I say. I think I outran my Kubro by accident is what that was. Fuck your shock traps.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
All right. Now's where the fun part begins. Hi guys, how you doing?
All right, Hunter. I will reward you should you perform.
Oh, whoever did that, thank you for scanning that. All right, Sugar's running like he's got one. Is that the marker for another one? Here, have a crystal. Have a disco ball.
Defixio extracted.
Okay, that was somebody carrying it. Yoink. Oh, hi guys. What are y'all doing down here? Oh wait, y'all are up here now. Okay. Oh, is there taking an D in the TTRPG? Ooh. Dutch TTRPG, anyone?
Defixio delivered.
Am I holding one? I'm not holding one, I don't think. Why is it telling me to come here? Weird. There's apparently more stuff this. Oh, hello. Thank you for the end. Oh, there we go.
Defixio extracted.
All right. Yeah, see, this is much faster whenever you have 4 people.
Allies. Thank you, Tenno.
Sir, your Panzer is pissed. All right.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
Trying to get to Goth? Exactly. Exactly. I'm gonna make her into a melee frame. Okay, yeah, it looks like we get 2 per person. Per person that's on the team. Oh. Oh, I'm getting a phone call from my pharmacy. It's probably just to tell me that it's time to pick up the monthly prescription. I am terrified. Oh, this is a call from a family member too. What the hell? Hold on a second, chat. We're gonna exit and then oh. Hi, free resource blessing. Do you mind if I do? All right, I'm gonna start it, but I need to answer the phone real quick, so I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okie dokie. They did not answer, which makes me think it was a butt dial. All right, are y'all not gonna ready up? What are y'all waiting on? Probably playing 5e. No, not D&D. You don't need to wait on me. I was sitting right here. That's what I wanted to do. I was gonna let y'all go in rather than waiting a bunch of minutes. So y'all don't need to wait on me. I was also sitting right here. I was just moving myself aside to go mute and answer the phone. But I think it was the butt dial. I think it was the butt dial. Okie dokie. I was gonna say I readied it up so that we could just go. Because they're not exactly like, they're only like level 40 in here, so it's not too bad. Had time to learn all the rules of WoD. I mean, you don't need to learn all the rules of WoD. If you try to learn all the rules of WoD, you'd probably rather shoot yourself in the head.
Hello? Reinforcements.
The whole industry. Whee!
Listen, we don't care about
This
our
is my-
mission. My team just wants to go home. Clear out
Okay,
the
nothing
ships
here.
so we can escape. If you find any of us, we'll show you where the nearest Defixio is. We want nothing to
Oh,
do
okay,
with
it's
those
her.
cursed things.
I
Be
got
cautious.
you.
The Defixios are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on you or your warframe.
Where are you going? Okay. Yeah, sadly, you gotta kind of just check every nook and cranny. But is that a Grendel? Oh no! Oh no! The Grendel's out. Okay, so somebody's found one. Oh wait, no, it's still sitting here. I'll take it. Shield's been removed. That's fine.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
That's fine. That's fine. Especially when we have invis.
Get that Defixio to the extraction zone as soon as possible.
Excuse me. Oh man, there's an Oracle cell all the way back there. Son of a bitch. I also some. Oh. Well, I found a double door. Hope there's only one thing to do. Put it down. And then just, you know, kind of just do. Have a crystal. Okay, that's there. Oh, did somebody else pick it up? Somebody... Oh, there you are. Okay, then. Somebody took the other Defixio, so might as well start looking for another. No. I need to look for the people, but I'm blind as shit. Do they show up on the mini-map? If they're, like, within the vicinity? We probably gotta... Because I ran, like, all the way from the back of the map to this side, so... Yeah, we'll go all the way back and get that Oracle cell. Don't mind if I do. Wait, did nobody take it? Nobody delivered it to the thing? Is somebody still carrying it around? Okay, there's one tagged there. Character tier, would you say Grendel? I think the Grendel, the comic book. Well then. Valk went down.
Defixio delivered.
Okay, so we have 2. And there's another one that's marked. So we have our eyes on 3. Question mark? Okay. Xmas strongholds. Wait, I missed the effects of this one. What did the effects say?
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing to worry about. Warframe. Warframe. Uh-oh. Bad touch. Okay. Why am I holding it? Oh, hello. Oh, damn it. Oh, hey, Screwball.
I'll mark your map. But
Did you wait? Were you there the whole time, or did you just pop out of the cell array?
you still can.
Resistance subdued. Find a Defixio and get to extraction.
Okay. With the zoom in, listen. I'm just glad when I found out that apparently the hi. When I found out that the bullet jump apparently in the story was a bug and not a feature. Okay, we got everything.
Defixio extracted.
Was a bug and not a
The
feature.
Defixios are on their way to
I was
our
like,
trusted
that's
allies.
crazy considering
Thank you,
it's like a crucial part of the game now. So we can set up a D&D session. There is, isn't there a tabletop game session, chat? Isn't there? Or are you looking for a voice chat? I think Axio can make it. Axio, if you're listening, can you go ahead and add like a TTRPG voice channel? Do it under gaming. Put it as like tabletop gaming or something. Oh, we only got 6 this time. Did we lose somebody? Interesting. So we've had 668, so that gives us 20. For Kuntz, Krabellis, and some others. Oh no. That's gonna be a goofy game. That's definitely gonna be a goofy game. There's like a super casual group. The one that I used to play Lancer with. No, we had all 4 of us. Why did we only get 6? It's probably like 6 to 8, I'm guessing. I'm guessing it's one of those ones that's just 6 to 8. And that's just what we're gonna keep getting. I shall harass Axio? You don't have to harass Axio. Axio's probably listening. Probably. I was gonna say, there's voice one, so I wasn't sure if you're looking for, not a voice one, there's a text one, or if you're looking for a voice one. They're all animal coded, but for Bear, who is a skeleton, it's a petting zoo? Oh no. Oh no. Changeling Witch? Is it D&D? You playing D&D? I would love to see more VTubers playing more TTRPGs. But at the same time, every VTuber I've seen that starts playing TTRPG just plays, oh, Pathfinder 2, even better. Can you DM with text? Yes, you technically can. You absolutely can. There's a lot of Discord servers for that. I tried to join one that was a Vampire the Masquerade version. And I've talked about this before, and it was a fucking travesty. They were basically advertising in some of the Vampire the Masquerade subreddits because I like seeing vampire art and stuff. So I followed some of them on my accounts. And they were saying, we're allowing this brand new list of clans and bloodlines into our, I think they were in New York. I think it was New York, if I remember right. It was New York. Daggerhearts? I'm not very interested in Daggerheart. But because I ain't so good at listening. Its thing too is it allows you to answer when you're available as opposed to having to have like a 4-hour slot in the middle of the day. Okay, I was right. It was a butt call. That family member just texted me back. Butt lines. Oh my goodness. Where was I going? Where was I going with this? Oh, it was the Discord. So I joined. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of bloodlines in here that I want to play. They had like Gargoyle, they had Salubri, and those were the two I was most interested in. And so I went to the server. It was a decent sized server. There was probably like 40 people in it. And some were more active than others, all that shenanigans. But I sent the DM. I was like, these are the character ideas I have. I have a Gargoyle idea. I have this Salubri idea. I have, I think it was a Tremere idea.
Hello?
And like the Tremere was already baseline for the server. There were tons of Tremeres already.
Listen. We don't care about our mission.
And like the GM was just like, oh, okay, if you play Gargoyle, the Tremere are gonna kill you. If you play Salubri, the Tremere are probably gonna kill you.
Any of us. We'll show you where the nearest Defexio is.
And then when it got to the, what was it? The Tremere, they were like, oh, we actually had a recent event where there's like a schism in the Tremere. So if you like don't side with this like hyper orthodox people, they're probably going to kill you. And it was like, okay, so all three of these characters would basically get me killed super early on. So, what should I play? And he was like, oh, I don't know, go back and look at the list. Like, okay. And come back with the backstory is what he said. So I've made a, it was a Nosferatu courier. She was like this like ex-honor student, went to like the most prestigious schools in New York. But really all she ever wanted to do was do like track and fields and just run and explore the city. And eventually her luck like runs out at some point. She gets turned into a Nosferatu, all this other jazz. And that backstory, the backstory I wrote ended up being when transferred to a like, what was it? A like Google Drive or something. Those aren't actual enemies. I'm an idiot. Got turned into like an actual page because I like typed it up in like a notepad. It ended up being of like 3+ pages. It was like 3.5 pages, I think is what it was. So when got around to it, and I sent it to him, I waited like, it took more than 24 hours. Yoink.
Get that Defixio to the extraction zone as soon as possible.
I'm brain farting at the same time I'm trying to play this game. Where was I? I have an idea for Nosferatu. The thing is, I sent him my backstory and I was like, I know it's a little long, but like I can shorten it if need be, all this other jazz. Just let me know like what you think works, what you think is neat. And I'll cut out some stuff that like isn't all that relevant. I waited, it took like 27 hours or something. I remember because I was so pissed off at this. God damn it, ad break. And what essentially happened after the 27 hours, what are you? Oh, you're a Nox, duh. What essentially happened after the 27 hours is he just messaged back and goes, make the backstory shorter. That's it. Nothing else. No critique. No, nothing about what the character was supposed to be. And it was just like, make it shorter. I don't think he even read it. I genuinely don't think he read it. And it was just at that point, between that and like looking at the character, quote, character graveyard, which was basically where like dead players' characters went, it was frequent. Like there was a new character dead at least once every 3 days. At least once every 3 days.
Defixio delivered. Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
But I don't know. That just pissed me off. The server just pissed me off to no end. It also didn't help that the server was also like mixed system. And by mixed system, I mean, no, mixed edition. That's the better word. Mixed edition. Oh, damn, y'all got all the Defixios before we killed the enemies. But yeah, I hated TLDR. TLDR, the server sucked ass. The GM was a dick. And he apparently killed people's characters with abandon. I think it was another thing too, was like, because people were showing their characters.
The Defixios are on their way to our trusted allies. Thank you.
They were showing off their characters. And a lot of them were just AI art. Do I know if they were generating them themselves? No. But a lot of them were AI art that I hadn't seen before, so I'm thinking some of them were generating it themselves. Hi, Ed. How are you doing?
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
Wait, but we lose iPad? Damn it. Yeah, we were in the middle of a mission. I could have brought it up, but I would have had to keep running the mission in the background. Welcome back from the ad break, chance. All right, for those of you who missed the end of the story, really quick, where did I get cut off for the ad break? It was... We'll just do the TLDR of the later parts. The GM did not read my backstory, said I had to make it shorter. And then looking through the server, realizing that people that were making characters were essentially generating art for their characters. Have fun later, Val. Thank you for hanging out. If anybody wants to fill, let me know. Then what was the other thing? Equal to Tremere and lore. Also sounds like the GM has a favorite clan. Also funniest timing. I think the GM was... The thing was, like, the prince... Everything was playable, technically. The prince in the city was a player character. To play a game with you again? If you ever want to play Warframe, let me know. I'm going to be doing a lot of farming, because now I've kind of caught up on the story. Like yesterday, literally the only thing I did was log in, do the rep grind for the Hex, and then log off. All right. What you farming for? We're farming for Vein Thorns. We're doing the Abyssal Zone. And so far, we do not have a lot. Here, inventory. We're up to 28. On the next one, we'll get enough to build one piece. We will have enough to build one piece of Daggeth in the next run, because each item costs 34 Vein Thorns. One piece? Not that kind of one piece. Called BBC. What? Wait, where are you? This guy's walking around me like he's trying to look at me, so I'm just gonna stand still for a second. Who is this? Wait, you can't name weapons, can you? How many minor clans are there? Quite a lot. Here, really quick. We're gonna nerd out for a second. All right, let me do this. We're gonna do a little bit of speed run, and by speed run, I mean VTN. Let's do clans. Give me clans, and then I need bloodlines. Okay, this is fine. Just in case people don't understand VTM, let me get the... Let's display capture. Second monitor, that's fine. All right, kids, really quick. All right, 13 major clans. These are the major clans, so don't get too overcomplicated on this. Banu Hakim, think assassins. These are going to be mostly Middle Eastern style or Egyptian style assassin type characters. They're usually extremely self-righteous. They have a lot of cool powers. Invisibility, in older versions, they had blood sorcery and stuff like that. Bruja, not quite witchy like you would think from the name. These are more like your rough and tumble punk street vampires. Gangrel, you're more animalistic vampires. Their primary power is to turn into an animal a lot of the times. And when they get pissed off, they'll grow those animalistic features by accident. Kitgun, you could name it. Ooh. Hakata's actually new. This is like all of the necromantic vampire bloodlines and stuff all mixed together. This is the Giovanni, the Nagaraja, the Cappadocians. If you can think about ghost zombies and like other raising the dead and souls and stuff, that's them. The Sombra, shadow vampires. They control the shadows. They can blend into the shadows. They can become shadows. They control the shadows. All that jazz. Malkavian, these are your absolutely batshit insane vampires. That's kind of it for them. The Ministry, aka the followers of Set. These are your like reptilian vampires. They are primarily Egyptian. And they're, what's the word? They're like flagship, a lot of vampire type shit. Correct. Wait, what the fuck? Did I just get a text from an old suit store that I went to like 4 years ago? What the fuck? I haven't been to you in like 4 years. You shitter? What do you mean? Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, most of their stuff is kind of turning into snakes, venom or poison related. Nosferatu, these are kind of exactly what they sound like. Very ugly, very heinous vampires. They're also extremely techy. Their whole shtick is they're like the tech geniuses of vampires. Suited up, Marin. Sounds like it would be cool. Yeah. I like suits. Suits are very cool. Ravnos. Jesus Christ, the Ravnos. Okay. So in early editions of Vampire, I'm going to use a word here that I have no intent behind of any sort. Ravnos in the original context that it was made were specifically and only gypsies. Brahmani. And in newer editions, in like a middle ground edition, basically, they became like only thieves. So like their special thing was like they had to steal things. They had to steal things. They had to commit a crime. It was their compulsion. And then in current editions, they have to travel. That's basically it. In the 90s was essentially like a time period where their, what do you call it? Their antediluvian, their progenitor basically was raised and then killed. So if a Ravnos stays in one place too long, they will burst into flames. I.e., you can't sleep in the same place every night and you have to move. It's not like you sleep in another part of the room. You have to move at least 1 kilometer away. Toreador, these are like the beauty obsessed, the artist vampires. To the point where they will literally get like stun locked looking at beautiful things. Tremere, these are the blood sorcerers. We talked about these a little bit earlier. Tzimisce, these are flesh crafters. They can change themselves into horrendous monstrous forms, or they can change others into furniture. Ventrue, these are your stuck-up CEO vampires. That's generally it for the like major clans. Campervans, yes, they can. I actually made I made a Ravnos once that was a street magician in Las Vegas who owned a retired Earthshaker, which if you don't know what an Earthshaker is, think of the like huge industrial kind of like giant camper van that'll have like a motorcycle on the back, big open windows on the front. But yeah, that's what she had. Then we can do bloodlines really quick. Okay, these are going to be a little more different because they usually fall under clans. So like Banu Hakim have all of these. These are very specific kinds. Bedouins, Assamite, Anti-Tribus, because Banu Hakim used to be Assamites. Courtiers, Shango, the Sorcerer caste, the Vizier caste. Those two are more magic based than the regular Banu Hakim. The Bali are essentially demon worshipping vampires. And then they have like their own little Azanili, which are kind of the nicer guys who commit murder instead of for worshipping the demon gods is to keep the demon gods asleep. Bruja, like we mentioned, those are the punk ones. If you see one here that has the label Laban, that means they're from Africa. They are from a specific book called I believe it's Kindred of the Ebon Kingdom. And they are very unique. I don't know nearly enough about them, but they tend to be derived from the clans to some degree. True Bruja are actually really cool in terms of their powers, because the Bruja are technically usurpers of the title of Bruja. The true Bruja, instead of having, I believe, celerity, they have a power called Temporis. They control time. The Caitiff are basically people who are clanless. Panders is just a very specific group under a man. I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Panders. Tons of gangrel here. The Aramans are spiritual warriors. City gangrel specialize in living in the city and are usually like more urban-based, animalistic. Country is kind of the same thing. Greek is very specific to a certain region. Mariner gangrels are basically ones that turn into fish predators instead of like wolves. What does clanless mean? Caitiff means they don't know who their clan is. Their powers are so diverse and random, and they weren't picked up by their sire, that just nobody knows who they belong to. What was the other ones? Oh, the Lianan. The Lianan, if I remember correctly, are the like forest witches. They're very niche because according to the lore, they're only in like North England, and they can't leave the area they live in because their magic is based on the area they live in. Thin Bloods, we're going to ignore Thin Bloods because they're a pain. Nagraja are my favorite because I want to make a Nagraja someday. They're obligate cannibals. There we go. There's the word. Cannibals. They don't drink blood like regular vampires. They have to eat organs instead of drinking blood. They're very fun. They also have like razor sharp teeth as part of their transformation into a vampire. Cappadocians. Cappadocians are another one of the necromantic ones. Semeti are from primarily the Caribbean area, of course, based off of, what's his name? It's not Papa Semeti, is it? I can't remember for sure. But yeah, he's basically based off that. They are canon. The Lamia are essentially a troop of women that protect the Cappadocian. They're more physically based, but they can do necromantic magic as well. The Harbingers of Ashir, as well as the Harbingers of Skulls, also very like rotted skeletal vampires. Giovanni, these are all basically just different families. These aren't super special. The only one that's kind of different is the Duncern are obligate cannibals. Not the same way the Nagaraja are. It's just that before they were turned into vampires, they were already cannibals. La Sombra, again, the shadow vampires. The only one that's really different here is the Kyasin. They are actually vampires mixed with fairy blood. They're usually like really pale and big black eyes. Kind of really unnerving. Nothing special in terms of like the Malkavian ones. Dominant Malkavians basically just means they have the discipline dominate instead of a different one, which is unusual among Malkavians. That's the only reason it's marked as different. Ministry, these aren't too different. I don't know how to say this exactly. Tlactcu. I totally butchered that. Those are South American based. Can you see me on that? I will do that in just a second. Nosferatu does not have a lot of differences except in the Nictuku. The Nictuku is a spin-off bloodline of Nosferatu that hate other Nosferatu. They are the quote-unquote rightful offspring of Absiliard, the progenitor of all of the Nosferatu. While every other Nosferatu is the offspring of Absiliard's own child. They're all basically grandbabies, and these are the actual children, and they hate each other. And the Nictuku are all ridiculously strong, so they do tend to massacre the Nosferatu frequently. Ravnos, many of these aren't too different. They're mostly cultural. So like Brahmin and Faraday are all from India. Anti-tribute are not that special. That usually just means that they're probably part of the Sabbats. Then the Laban, again, I don't know too much about the Laban. Salubri, of course, you see the Bali here is underneath Salubri. They are technically a bloodline of each other. Speculatively in the lore, it's speculated that Salat, the progenitor of the Salubri, was the one who created the Bali. The Nakulu Zhao are Chinese, basically. I don't know. Oh, no, it's the Wu Zhao. The Wu Zhao is the Chinese Salubri. I don't know about the Nakulu Zhao. It's interesting that they're both Zhao. But this one's marked Laban, so... Instantly know these. No. Nope, not at all. You do not get any innate knowledge. There is no innate knowledge. You could be turned into a vampire and know nothing forever. It's usually, hopefully you have a nice sire of the person who turned you, and they will teach you. But it is not infrequent that you are effectively abandoned. Yes, Baron Samedi. Thank you so much, Neko. Toreador. There's not a lot of difference between these. The Ishtari are specifically North African Toreador. The Nephilim are like, again, not that special. They're more of a cult. The ones where it differentiates here is the Volgir. They are Toreadors that have the Tzimisce power of vicissitude, which means they can do the flesh crafting. They can do the flesh crafting that Tzimisces can do. Tremere doesn't really have a lot of bloodlines, even though they're technically a bloodline themselves. These are Tremere from the Middle Ages that have a very specific type of sorcery that they know. And then the Anti-Tribute is essentially any Tremere that isn't a part of the Camarilla stuff. Flesh crafting, molding flesh and shaping it into whatever you want. Yeah, but according in lore currently, apparently there's no Tremere Anti-Tribute that currently exists because the original Tremere did a big ritual that killed them all. But you can still play them in the game. They have like a little loophole where it's like, or did they? Tzimisce, these again are the flesh crafters. Naglopers are basically the flesh crafters of Africa. Old Clan Tzimisce is essentially what Tzimisce was before they had the vicissitude. Old Clan Tzimisce actually has a sorcery called Kaldunic sorcery. That is basically, think Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ventrue, none of the Ventrue are really that different. I don't know about the Donova. That's probably a specific region. Because Ventrue are usually pretty uniform. They're all kind of stuck up CEO-ish assholes. And these singular ones, these are ones that aren't tied to clans. Blood brothers are basically hive mind. They're usually bound to each other. They were created by Tzimisce and Tremere. They're usually all look the same. They swap body parts. They do shit like that. I don't know enough about the Bonsam. I don't know about the Children of Inamaru. The Children of Osiris are all like an Egyptian cult that essentially cultivates the spell of life, the thing that creates mummies, because mummies are a thing in the world of darkness. Daughters of Cacophony are singers. They basically have a power that functions kind of similar to like dominates or controlling people or inflicting emotions, except they do it through singing. Gargoyles, actually very much like what they sound like. Stone-like people. They're usually kind of ugly or have like very inhuman features. But they're one of the few they're the only vampire clan that can technically fly at the start. And Padudlu is another Laban that I don't know too much about, and Ramanga is another Laban. Oh, shit. Magar is another one of the fairy blood ones. Originally, they were the original Kaiasid. Kaiasid was the original word meaning like basically vampire mixed with fairies. And then it was eventually stolen and they took the name Magar instead. This is VTM. What is true faith? True faith is having the belief in some sort of religious structure. In some sort of religious, it doesn't always have to be religion. Like one of the examples in the newest books is a police officer that really, really believes in his like code of honor and what he does. So like him showing a badge could essentially scare away a vampire. But yeah, that's our side tangent. There's a lot of wiki pages out there if you want to learn more about Vampire the Masquerade. You can use again, like the one I had open, which was the White Wolf wiki, or there's also one, I think it's called like Sangia or something like that. Sanguine. It's pretty useful. But Vampire the Masquerade is one of the most well-documented TTRPGs on the internet. Even for its size. You bought the PDFs? Hell yeah. Is really Delulu, can they have true faith? Yes. Yes, they can. If they believe in it hard enough, they can. Yeah, I have some of the older PDFs if you want it. There's currently a V5 system, which is like, of course, the 5th edition. It's not great. I don't like it because it introduces amalgams and then removes a bunch of the fun and the fun stuff, basically. Anyway, we have a slot open. Does anybody want to join? Oh, goodness. Oh my God. I had like a hiccup and a burp at the same time, and I think it was trying to make me vomit, but I haven't eaten today. Oh my goodness. But y'all are both here. Y'all are both in here already. A herp? Really scaring away a police badge? You can be. If the officer believes in it hard enough and is like essentially brandishing the badge at you, then it could technically work. The thing is though, true faith is extremely rare, even among priests. Not every church you go to, a priest's conviction is going to be strong enough to count as true faith. Like, you would have to go to like the Pope, the cardinals, who's affected by true faith. Technically, I believe is the first power of true faith. Hectic may know this better than I do off the top of my head. I think the first power of true faith, if you have one dot, which is what the game system works on, is dots. One dot in true faith lets you essentially sense if somebody is like inhuman. So you'd be able to know if somebody's like, you wouldn't know exactly what they are, but you would know they're not human. So like if you were the presence of a werewolf, a vampire, and like any sort of that, a fairy maybe. To propel somebody away with true faith would require like, I think it's 3 dots. I think it's 3 dots. What about mages? It depends on the paradigm, because there is a group in mages. There's the the something chorus, celestial chorus. The celestial chorus is heavily faith-based, so a lot of their members will often have true faith. Yeah, true faith has the exact same powers through all of the systems. Demon the Fallen, Vampire Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage, they all have the same powers. And so you would, oh my God, it does say BBC canon. Christ. Yeah, you can be a mage and have true faith. And a lot of the time, you're more than likely going to be a Celestial Chorus member. Prayer and such is a very easy paradigm if you are unsure of how paradigms work in mage. Just being like, oh, okay, my prayers get answered whenever I pray out loud or to certain things or recite certain things. Sugar Poo. Do I need to re-invite or are you heading out? I'll be right back. Okay, gotcha. Again, we still have 1 slot open. Does anybody want to join? Todd Howard, do you want to join? The more people we have, the faster this goes. I do also apologize for the side tangent. Can't believe they're going to blast people with TV licensing fees. Well then. The fun thing too is if you learn Vampire the Masquerade's rules and stuff, Vampire the Masquerade is also one of the largest widespread TTRPG LARP scenes. TTRPG based LARP scenes. They're all over the world. I've heard like there's like some Scandinavian countries and Northern Europe countries have tons. Have a lot of LARPs for Vampire the Masquerade. Can we LARP in the carnival? Maybe if someday, maybe someday. I don't know. I've never been to a LARP. I've never done a LARP. There's even a separate book for Vampire the Masquerade LARP because some of the rules changed slightly. The BBC canon, is that what it's for? Is that what it is? Forcing people to buy TV licenses? All right, no one else? No one else wants to join? Isn't LARP online just RP? Yes, yes it is. That is just text RP. Oh, I can't check the codex here. Damn it. Right, I can't check the codex here. Nope, no I can't. I was gonna show people the stuff we're farming for, but if I can't get to the codex without kicking everybody out. If you want to join Windsor, you're more than welcome to. My name is the same everywhere, so if you want to add me on here, feel free. And I will wait. I will wait for your friend invite. How can you LARP in the carnival? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. TV licensing fees. Christ. Christ. LARPing in the 2022 Saints Row. Not a sense our favorite Saints Row, but the LARP is funny. I mean, there was times when I was a really little kid that I wish I was joking. I would RP while playing Kirby Air Ride in City Trial. Where did you go? There you are. All right. And now we wait for Windsor to join, and I gotta pee, but I'll be strong and wait up for the next ad break because it's like 30 minutes away. All right, kids, we're going to the Abyssal Zone. I still don't really understand why it's called the Abyssal Zone because it's literally just a ship right off the side. Is that the name of the ship? Well, it was anti-RP in chat. It was anti-RP in chat because people would come in role-playing in chat. Go biz so we can rate. I mean, if y'all want to start it and go, it's only going to take a minute. So I'll be back in just a second. I'm just going to go slump. Go ahead and start it. Go ahead and accept it. And we'll get in. And then y'all can just start running it. I should be fine. I should be fine.
Reinforcements? Listen, we don't care about our mission. My team just wants to go home. Clear out this ship so we can escape. If you find any of us, we'll show you where the nearest Defexio is. We want nothing to do with those cursed things.
Be cautious. The Defixios are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on you or your warframe.
All right, what'd I miss? I didn't die. Success. Success. All right. What'd I miss? Anybody die? Anybody explode? Hi, Darkbreaker. How are you doing?
Nobody knows you're here.
Nobody knows we're here. Yeah, because we killed everyone.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Why does it look like y'all went this way, though? Never mind. How are you finding Warframe? I'm loving the shit out of this game. What was that? Well then. Wait, somebody back there? Okay, that looked like a place for one of those folks to hide, so I wasn't sure. There's one Defixio. Hello? Hello? That's not openable. Okay. I'm just snooping. I'm snooping for the Defixios. Because they're hidden everywhere. Eventually I'll catch up to where these guys went. Eventually. Okay. How are you doing, Akon?
Take this. I gotta walk on it.
Is somebody turning in the Defixios? Is somebody just carrying them?
Defixio extracted.
There's another one. Oh,
Stay focused.
two of them.
There's a heavy unit approaching.
All right, I'll go get this one. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Everybody might as well just pick one up if we're all carrying them.
Warframe's power matrix. The sooner
Oh,
you get
I went to the other one by
Defixio
accident.
extraction, the better.
Yeah, I can't carry both, unfortunately.
Resistance subdued. Find a
Unfortunately.
Defixio and get to extraction.
I also really don't like the breathing.
Defixio delivered. Defixio delivered.
Does anyone else think that, what was it? If your ship naturally made the, like, haunting sounds that the ships in this game make, you probably wouldn't want to work on it, would ya?
Defixio extracted.
Nice timing.
The Defixios are on their way to our trusted allies.
What are y'all doing here?
Tenno.
Okay. Okay.
Mission complete.
Make some tea. You want
Excellent
anything?
work,
I want some
Tenno.
peppermint tea. Peppermint tea, please. Play one of my favorite games. I followed a few of the VAs on Twitter. Ooh. Finally off work, got D&D session tonight. Ooh. What are you playing as again? Have you told me before? I don't remember if you've told me before what you were playing as. All right. Next. Oh, I think that was earlier. I think that was the I'll be right back from earlier. Next. Can I have some green tea? My tummy hurts. You get porridge. Porridge. Ooh. One bowl of porridge coming up. Yes. If you need any help, let me know. I think we still have a full team. Yeah, we do. We're going right back in, boys. Oh, I got you. I got you. It's an Avernus one. So that means you're playing like mid-level, right? Doesn't most of the Avernus content require like mid-level? Because it's hell. Someday they want a bowl of porridge? I'll take a bowl of porridge. It's your lucky day. You have porridge? You have porridge? All right. We still have the disco going in the background. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh. Oh, the ports thing reminds me. Disco frame? Disco frame.
Reinforcements? Listen, we don't
The,
care
what was
about
it?
our mission. My team just wants to go home. Clear out the ship so we can escape. If you
Where was they
find
going? Oh, right. You brought up
any
porridge.
show
Yesterday
you.
when I went to grab a bite, I went to my favorite
nothing to do
Thai
with
curry
those
place.
cursed
They
things.
increased their prices already this year.
Be cautious.
They went from like
The Defixios are
$10
coveted because of their power.
to
I
$13.
cannot predict their effects on
Somebody
you
found
or
one.
your warfare.
Got it. Yoink. Oh, the Dante overshield.
Reading fluctuations in your Warframe's power matrix. The sooner
But
you
where
get
was
the
I? Oh,
Defixio
and I went there and it went from
extraction,
like $10 over the course of a couple months to when I went yesterday, it was $16 fucking dollars. And I like squinted at it.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Yeah, I squinted at it and the guy like looks at me and I go, did y'all increase the prices? He goes, yeah, the supply chain's gotten really bad this year already. And I was like, I squinted at it, I made like a face and I was like, I feel really bad, but I can't justify to myself to spend $16 for the curry that you serve. This is like, it's a single serving, like to go styrofoam thing that's full of rice. And then it's one of those like plastic soup containers. Oh, hey, there's another one right there. Plastic soup containers. You know, the one that you get from like most, any kind of like Asian place from like west to east all across Asia. Wait, excuse me. All right. And I told them that. I'm sorry I keep getting sidetracked. It's hard to stay focused, and I'm also sprinting through a shit full of killer, ugly clones. But it's option to disable self-harm combos. What do you mean? Self-harm combos?
Resistance subdued.
But I told them that.
Defixio delivered.
And when I did, I like walked away, and then when I looked back a couple minutes later, both the cook and the manager were standing in front of the venue with a notepad, talking and writing stuff down. And I was like, I wonder if they're changing the prices. I'll check next time I go. But $16 for like what they give is way too much. Like if they had increased the price or the size or something along with it, fine, I'd be totally for it. But they only give like a single serving amount. Oh, there's another space. I'm guessing somebody has it. I'm gonna guess somebody has it. All right, let me catch up real quick. Just go frame Grindle time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It was an ability to disable self-harm convos? Wait, with who? Where? What? Here, have crystal. Have disco ball.
I don't want to die.
Oh, I got you. Hold on.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
Hit it.
Defixio extracted. The Defixios
All right.
are on their way
Do
to
what?
our
What do you
trusted
mean?
allies. Thank you, Tenno.
Huh?
Another
Huh?
job
What?
well executed.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what Krish is talking about. $35 plus 6, 41. Who would you recommend to prime farm? Do you mean Warframe to use to prime farm, or which prime frame you want to farm? That's up to you. Which frame you want is up to you. Which frame you use depends on the Two? What do you mean two? That means you're also questioning something else. I do kind of want to get Saren Prime someday. I do kind of want to get Saren Prime at some point. I'm pretty sure I have, like, some parts of Saren. Don't I? Oh, yeah, I have the systems. But that's it. That's it for Saren Prime. And the basic one. I was gonna say, if you want to know which ones to get, that's up to you. It has to be a Warframe you like. But if you want to know what to use to farm, it depends on the objective, the type of objective. I'm also not an expert to ask for it. I could mostly just play the frames that I like most of the time, whichever one like I feel like I want to play. Which is why like I also haven't touched oh, she's favorited, that's why. That's Tanya Prime in like 2 weeks. I have not touched her in 2 weeks. Even though she was the one that I was playing the most of when we first started playing. 2 Valkyr Primes? Why 2? Why 2? Hi, Flo. How are you doing? Onwards! And then Krish never said anything again. A whole prime was the login reward? It's probably was some kind of drop, I'm guessing. Because, I mean, I got Ash Prime and Trinity Prime. Oh, and Nova Prime. I'm pretty sure from Twitch. Maybe one of them was like, what is it? Amazon, whatever? Prime? That's what it was, Prime. Because there was a time for the longest while that Warframe was part of the like Prime bonuses.
Listen, we don't care about our mission. My
hey.
team just wants
Yoink.
to go home.
Energy drained steadily.
Clear
Fuck.
out the ship so we can escape. If you find any of us, we'll show you. where
There's
the next
always
exit
one that they
is.
sneak in like right at the beginning of the
We
map.
want nothing to do with those cursed things.
Be cautious. The Defixios are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on
But
you
also,
or
what the
your
fuck
Warframe.
are they? Are they ever gonna explain? They probably already did and I just totally missed it.
Get that Defixio to the extraction zone as soon as
I'm going the wrong direction. Give me. Anyway. Coming through. Fuck you, Shock Trap. There's a Dante on the team. I don't gotta worry about pain whatsoever. Oh, here, have a crystal. Oh, wait, I have no energy. Whoop. Clean. Gimme. Come through, place to be, things to do.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Can you imagine what those guys would suddenly, like, feel watching the shock trap go off and arc to something that they can't see? Hi, guys. Anyway, oh, I got knocked down. That was weird. Looked like I was breakdancing for a second. Fistal the oh, god damn it. Here, take orb. Also, all the guys on the other side of the store. Ow, pain. Wow, my guy. Why won't you go down? Let me up there. Oh, I couldn't get the ground finish. Couldn't get it that time either. Hi, Windsor. Smash. Smash. Excuse me, places to be, things to do. Go down, damn it. Oh, 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 What the fuck? What the fuck was happening?
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Okay. Oh, I didn't realize it already got Citrine to 21. Damn.
Resistance subdued. Find a Defixio and get to extraction. Defixio extraction.
What are you doing here, Nox? Turn off the security. Oh, whoops. Okay.
Defixio delivered.
We're still missing one? Nobody's carrying one, right? Oh, there it is. Okay, we're good.
Defixio extracted. The Defixios are on their way to our trusted
Hit it,
allies.
hit it,
Thank
hit
you,
it.
Tenno.
Explain over nice bowl of porridge. Ooh. Main Gara Prime, what would you rate it?
Well executed.
Oh, are you asking if I've played the Gara Prime yet? I have not. I still need to farm some of the materials. I only barely started playing the regular Gara. If we max Citrine, I will probably swap to regular Gara, because then I'll just subsume her when I start building the Gara Prime. 49. So I need 103? 103 total? No. 102. Fuck, man. Fuck. Yeah, because it's 34 per piece of Dagoth. So I need 102 total just to make the frame.
Everything in its place.
I don't think I have nearly enough reps to do that. But yeah, I like Gara though. I need to like ramp up Gara. Oh yeah, this is my Kuva Lich. She flirts with me. And she has the Kuva Sobek, which so when I don't think I can convert her. Don't I have to have a certain stat somewhere to be able to convert her? Can I only exterminate her? Anybody know? Anybody know? Any clue? For TennoCon then? Wait, what was it about TennoCon? Like TennoCon, like Akon said, I remember watching to get the parts for Harrow. Oh, I got you. I got you. Wait. Does Harrow have a prime? Does Harrow have a prime? I don't remember what Harrow Prime looks like. I wonder. Also, hold on, I got a sniffle. Okay. Clue from hit series Tron? Oh, that's glass.
Reinforcements.
Oh, hi.
Listen, we don't care about our mission. My team just wants to go home. Clear out this ship so we can escape. If you find any of us, we'll show you where the nearest Defixio is.
Okay. Oh, hello.
We want nothing to do with those.
Somebody found that and then just left it here.
Be cautious. The Defixios are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on you or your warframe.
It's fine. It's
Take
fine.
it to the extraction zone. Antenna, be careful.
Oh, where'd it go? That was weird. I guess.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit
Have
approaching.
critical. Where did the? Okay, I am still holding it.
Watch
That's-
yourself. Grenier are on the way.
No, that's something else. Why is it not giving me? There it is. There it is. Oh, good lord. Yeah, there's a lot of people just kind of hanging out around here. Last year, when is TennoCon? Again, I really don't like the ship breathing.
That'll be okay.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like a distant.
Defixio.
Here, have Crystal. Snack. Snack. Just take invisible, nerd. And spam 1. Alright, we got an ad break in 5 minutes. That's totally fine. I think that's plenty of time to finish this mission.
Defixio delivered.
Wait, is there? Oh, there we go. Was there one person in there? What are you doing in here? July 18th to the 19th? Okay, so it hasn't happened this year. Good. Well, duh. Wait, why did I say that? It's the beginning of the year.
Resistance subdued. Find a Defixio and get to extraction. Defixio delivered.
Okay, did somebody have the last one? Do we know if anybody has the last one? I don't need to keep fighting these guys, so... Doesn't seem like it? Okay. So we're missing one. Oh. Wait, where's Sugar going? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Defixio extracted. The Defixios are on their way to our trusted allies.
Okie
Thank you,
dokie.
Tenno.
Hi, Black Dragon. How are you doing?
Another job well executed.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna let the ad count down from the 3 minutes now, and then run the 3-minute ad. I'm gonna give you the game at the same time, but I'm gonna go stand up and stretch, and go check on Coco. Maybe I'll see if I can find something to nibble on too while I'm at it. I think I have some popcorn. Oh God, there's a bag of like, you know, those pre-popped popcorns. Here, let's do. Leave chat with the jamming citrine. And then we'll do the game. A bad dragon? No. Long iPad? Yes, long iPad time. All right, guys, we'll be back in a couple minutes. If anybody needs to leave the group, just like put it in the chat and I'll see it later. But, oh, okay, there goes Windsor. I will sell in a couple minutes. I need to take a bit of a stand up. And thank you for the squats. God damn it. All right, I'll do the squats in a minute.
Come all and step into the macabre halls of the Dark Carnival. And please, enjoy the show. Step inside, step inside.
Okay. I'm back, but I still have my last bite of peanut butter sandwich in my mouth. So it's yeah, nom 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 nom. What's wrong, Sunstar? What's the deal? Oh goodness. Hold on a quick second. I gotta smack to get all the peanut butter out. All right. Would you rate my Warframe fashion? Oh no. All right, hold on. I forgot I turned the music up. My bad. Are you... Okay, I dig it. I dig it. Oh, I wish I had that ephemera. The little grid over the body that's supposed to look like a shield. Hold on a second. Okay. Sugar Poo, is that trans pride Uriel? Did I see? I swear I saw somebody that was doing the same thing like yesterday or the day before. Yes? Oh, I was right. Nice. All right. Are we good? Is Winter still here? Is Windsor still here? Is Windsor ready to go? I think we only have a couple more. I don't know if I really want to spend any more rep today on getting more abyssal beacons. At least until I'm capped out again. Okay. WS, you came back and I realized I put Finch instead. You goofball. All right. How many do I have? Oh, am I out? No, I should have. I think I have at least one more. Okay, I have at least one. Actually, I'll check what my rep is with the two syndicates. Would you rate my Warframe fashion? 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. It's very purple. It was very purple. All right, just wait on sugar. T-stone. There it is. Who got the what? Are you talking about queens? Are you talking about queens catching the bug? The Warframe bug? Yeah.
Reinforcements?
Okay.
Listen, we don't care about our mission. My team just wants to go home. Clear out the ship so we can escape. If you find any of us...
Okay, but were they originally here to find... Oh, there it is. I knew it!
Nothing to do with those...
There's always one at the beginning.
Things.
Be cautious. The Defixios are coveted because of their power. I cannot predict their effects on you or your Warframe.
Okay, wait, are they an NPC? Wait, who's the NPC?
Fluctuations
She's in
your
Fortuna?
Warframe's power matrix.
Mhm.
The sooner you get that Defixio to extraction, the better.
Oh, yeah, Ticker. Ticker is... I'm trying to remember what Ticker does in Fortuna.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Oh, it's up higher. Oink. Here, have this. Oh yeah, she's the Bondette one. That's right. That's right. Whoop, too high. Excuse me, I got places to be, things to do. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Am I? Why did it change? I think it's this one? Oh, that's... There it is. There's the yellow one. Why does they keep, like, hiding it or tucking it away when somebody... What y'all doing? Have a crystal.
Defixio delivered.
Oh, great. Schmack, schmack, schmack.
Resistance subdued. Find a Defixio.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to make Citrine Prime look like in the future. I'm not going to lie. Carrie, I think you were talking about this the other day. Do you know what the order for the current primes are? Like, what's the next one? Do you have this? Somebody sooner dumps thousands of hours into the game? Oh my god, you dork.
Defixio extracted.
I can't wait for Prime Jimbusley. Oh my god, we're not gonna call it Jimbusley forever, okay? Oh, hi. That was a coincidence. Battery weapon slowly drained? Nice.
Defixio extracted.
Oh.
Defixio delivered. The Defixios
All right,
are on their
let's
way
just,
to
we gotta do,
trusted
we gotta do.
allies. Thank
Which is,
you.
of course, Jam. I have no idea. Everyone's long their minds about it, but it's supposed to be a release date and pattern MMFF repeat. What was the last one? The last one was Gyre, wasn't it? Right? Gyre's the newest one. That wrote I traded to you? I don't think I did. I do not think I did. We'll check it out in just a second, because I think that's the last one of these that I'm going to run today. Wrote. Is that for the Grimoire?
Another job well executed.
Is that what it's for? But hey, at least we got like half of what I needed. So I can at least go start the process of one of the parts for Daggett. All right. Back to the ship. Yes, it'll make me leave the group because I don't know what we're gonna do next for sure. Release order Cynex and Varuna. Gotcha. Gotcha. Wait, what was the thing that you said you gave me? The Rotes I traded you. Rotes. During the scene with the Grenier lady trying to eat the child. The what? I don't know what to put in the slots. I don't like really anything I have here. Oh. Go back over here. We have Prime Flow. Before. 30. Yeah, Stynex is a Spartan. Getting on computer for less delay. Emotes? Oh, got you. Emotes? You gave me an emote? All right, I'll check it in just a second. Do I want to put power drift on it now? Nah, I don't even have the X list. Whoop. Random phone call again. No idea who that is. You're going in there. You're going in there. All right, you said it was an emote. Oops, whoops. Whoops. Here. Emotes. Ooh. Here's the other ones that I have equipped. Which one was it? The sacrifice of planes where they ended up happening. It won't let you do plot from the beginning. In Discord? Which part in Discord? Oh, some of the frames. Got you. Oh, I've seen this dance. Oh, that's cute. Was it this one? Endurance emotes? So it was this one. It was the endurance one. Do I just point at myself and nod? Is that what it is? Oh. And of course. Oh. This bitch. No, that was the one. It was this one. All right, there we go. Who works for me? Oh, I do have the meditate one. All right. Let's start one of the pieces. It almost doesn't matter. We almost had one more run and I could have gotten 2 pieces done, but it's no big deal. No big deal. We'll do Argon. We'll do the Argons so I don't have to go farming for Argon a later day. All right. Now, what were some of the other things I wanted to do? There was other things I wanted to farm, but... Oh, I'm gonna have to get more Argon for the Bubonico. Son of a bitch! I've been building mutagen basically non-stop since I hit 13, just so that I can build the fucking Bubonico. And it's Jover, then I can stop using the SEMO that I've been using this whole time. Because I just don't have that many cool fucking primaries. Like, Estilla is kind of cool. These I just mostly love. Oh, the Phage. Phage was interesting. I just didn't like the fact that it reset. Send invite, please. I just don't know what we're doing yet. I'm gonna wait until I figure out what we're doing. What are some things we could farm right now? Is that the song? Yeah, this is the back room in 1999. We get a loft. And it's a big ass TV. TV. Yeah, it's the base of operations. It's not even intergalactic TV. It's 1999 TV. We're getting local channels. Also, there's our hologram Octavia. And here's our Hellman. He got a little bit of an upgrade. Got a different looking dentist chair. A Coda Lich? I haven't gotten one yet because I've only had my first and only Kuva Lich. And I don't think you can get a Coda Lich when you have a Kuva Lich. Like you can't get a Sister of Parvos. Oh, I think that's what it was. Can you do the missions for Rise of the Tempestari? With the team? I mean, this is like the apartment's built into a warehouse. But genuinely fucking sick, dude. Fucking sick. Hell yeah. Let's see if my Railjack helps. I don't know if we'd be able to do it that way. Stand on the rail, stand on the rail. Or max on the rail. And then my motorcycle is still the Gyres color palette. My copper and blue Gyre. It's likely solo though, yeah? Okay. Okay. Damn. Oh. Oh, this is the Nightwave? Oh, shit.
Now, just in case some of you ain't doing all this out of the kindness of your hearts.
Oh, nightmare missions. Okay. Rare fish. What counts as rare?
Later.
And my rep isn't high enough to do Profit Taker. Be awesome, stay awesome, eat cheesecake or a suitable cheesecake, substitute delectable meatball. Hi, Unforced Monkey. Is this? It's both, it looks like a tape machine of some kind, but it's playing on to a hologram program? Huh. Is high ranked bounty? That's what I figured, but you also have to have a, yeah, the high ranked. You have to have a higher rank. Void relics. Cool. Mods. Oh, for a second I thought Icon meant something. Oh, wait, I've already almost maxed out. You were leveling up so much faster than the other ones. But that's fine. Let's go. We'll do 2 more beacons. We'll do 2 more beacons. So I'm gonna go grab the materials first.
I'm having so much fun with you, little mate.
Are you winning? I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I can at least go grab 2 more from the parent sequence. Max rank? I figured. I've also heard some people hate that boss. I've heard some people hate that boss, like a lot.
These are a bargain, just for you. You have excellent taste.
Okay. I'm gonna go to navigation, I'm gonna get up, and then I'll invite the guys back. They hate Exploiter Orb. Okay. Sugar Poo. And Windsor wants to join. Your best is enough. Exploiter Orb is the pain. Is that a specific like difficulty, or is that, what is that? What's the difference? Okay, we'll see if Windsor's gonna join, and if he doesn't, then we'll grab someone else. Because we're just gonna run 2 more of the Abyssal Zone. Oh, I know, Carrie. I know Little Meat's a term of endearment. That's why I say she's flirting with me. It's bounty for Fortuna. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. No Windsor? All right, who wants to join? Anybody want to join for 2 runs of the Abyssal Zone? Oh, never mind. Too late. Spoke too soon. Spoke too soon. Digimon X Virtual Pet. I guess I got Lilimon and she's kicking butt. What is virtual? What do you mean virtual pet? This is also navigation. Ooh. Oh, there we go. I was about to say, hitting X did not do anything. 2 more Abyssal Zones, baby, because then I can make at least 1 more piece of gear. And then some other time I can buy more Abyssal things and get the rest. OG Digimon, the answer to Tamagotchi. Oh, I got you. Okay, so it's one of the... I mean, it's not even OG. They still make them. I know they do. I know they also made anniversary ones recently. I kind of want one at some point. They're kind of neat. Oh, goodness. Ow. Why did that hurt? It was like a hiccup, but it took something with it.
Hello? Reinforcements?
All right, where is it?
We don't care
Where is it?
about our mission. My team
Where is it?
just wants to go home. Clear out the ship so we can escape. If you find any
It's
of
got to
us,
be around here
I'll
somewhere.
show you where the nearest effects are.
There's got to be one.
We want nothing to do with those cursed things.
Be cautious. The Defixios are coveted because of their
No,
power.
not one.
I cannot predict their effects on you or your warframe.
Okay, I guess this area is clear. Oh. I need to read again what Citrune's passive is, because I've completely forgotten what it is. Alright, somebody's already got one. God, the sounds are so ominous, dude.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
It's just 5 HP up to 25 HP for each health orb. Okay, that's what I thought it was. I saw it going up whenever I picked up health orbs, and that it was like always picking up health orbs. Even when my energy was maxed out. You didn't come in this way. Aha! I knew it! Take damage when you cast abilities. Okay, that's fine.
Take it to the extraction zone. And Tenno, be careful.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Excuse me. Oh, there's another one. Someone was carrying this one for sure.
Resistance subdued. Find a
Okay, I'm still
Defixio
carrying
and
it.
get to extraction.
It's the weird thing too with having dual wielding. The dual wielding, it for some reason just disappears, whatever you're carrying. Also, I gotta sneeze. I gotta sneeze. Okay. Oh, goodness. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't mute for that. All the orbs. Alright, so it looks like somebody got the pinged one. So we're missing one. I think Sugar has it. Yep, I was right. Sugar was running like he had it.
Delivered. The Defixios are on their way to our trusted allies.
Crusty garlic loaf on clearance at Walmart for 48 cents. I'm lamenting my lack of proper bread knife and resisting to urge to go feral on like a Rottweiler with a chew toy. Did you also buy a block of Parmesan cheese? Oh, we got 7 this time. We kept getting even numbers before. Listen, my favorite thing to do is whenever they have those like, those garlic breads at the grocery store that are like super cheap or on clearance even, is buying those and a block of Parmesan and taking it home and baking it just a little bit more with Parmesan thrown on top of it. And it is so good. It is so fucking good, dude. All right, we got one more. I figured some decorum was called for with fancy paper bagged bread. You got it at Walmart. It ain't fancy. It's delicious though. It is delicious. I usually get mine at H-E-B. H-E-B sells like one that's like 50 cents to $1 depending on the time of day. And by that I mean they like bake it in the morning and then it gets cheaper so that it actually sells by the end of the day. They'll just slap a sticker on top of it. I do have Parm, but Parm is eye-wateringly expensive. Oh. Is it? I mean, I only usually buy like a little triangle of it. And that's like $4. And it gets the job done for quite a while. One wedge of Parmesan goes a long way. Say when. 20 minutes later, I haven't said when.
Hello? Reinforcements? Listen, we don't care about our mission. My team just wants to go home. Clear out the ship so we can escape. If you find...
I'm also wondering if they gave up because of the things. Like, is it supposed to be implied they gave up because these things, the Defixios that they were trying to take? Oh, hi. What are you doing here?
Effects on you or your warframe.
Oh, there you are. There's an arrow here. Where'd it go? Now, what are you doing? Schmack. Oh, there's the way down here. Aha! Oh, there goes my ammo.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Oh, Sunstars in first.
Get that Defixio to the extraction zone as soon as possible.
Is it also slowing me down? Feels like I'm slower. Also, my eyebrow itches. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for the Orkin cell. Yoink, yoink. Bye. Bye. That way. Where are you going? It's not about first, it's about doubles? Doubles. What do you mean doubles? Harry? Oh, here, have a crystal. excuse me, place to be, things to do. You know the jazz. Go down, bailiff.
Defixio extracted.
Not the blitz. What does the blitz do? Are they fast? I've never been able to figure out what a blitz Eximus even does.
Defixio delivered.
Can someone explain it to me like I'm an idiot?
Defixio and get to extraction.
I sometimes mix up blitz and arson arsons are the ones that I hate. Oh, that's actually a pretty substantial area. All right.
Defixio
Yoink.
extracted. The Defixios are on their way to our trusted allies.
Here, have another
Thank you,
quittal.
Lieutenant. Another job
All right.
well executed.
So I have no use here. It's totally fine. Nullifier Eximuses. The Nullifier aren't even always Eximuses. They're also regular. Is that the Grimoire? Was that my Grimoire? Y'all saw that, right? Huh. All right, now that's all we're gonna do on the farming today. I didn't realize how much, what was it? How much rep I was getting for the parent sequence. So at least now I can go make a second Dagoth part. Just do this one. We'll just do the neuroptics. And the next time we'll get the systems. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. Maybe we'll do it the day after. Who knows? Whenever I get both New Loka and the parent sequence back up. Honestly, it hasn't been that bad. That was not that bad of a grind. I think it was the same thing for me with Citron. Citron didn't feel like that much of a grind. You'd be happy to hear I acquired more endangered fish to breed and plan on getting more species. Ooh! Wait, how many tanks do you have again? How many tanks do you have again, Don? Citrine to me has been bad. It was, I think, what was it? I got her weapon like multiple times. Like her various weapons multiple times. No pieces, hardly any ever pieces. So I haven't really made her weapons. I think I ended up buying 2 pieces of citrine. I think. And it wasn't until like the end. I think I actually did buy the main blueprints. I'm pretty sure I bought the main blueprints and one of the others. Because I was so unlucky getting things to drop. I think I need citrine and protea for the wall and a citrine for myself. The wall? The wall? What is the wall? Booty. Anyway. Hungry Hippo, aka Helmet. Oh, I got you. But chat, it has already been over three and a half hours. Better than starting another round or anything. So we're going to go ahead and swing right on over to the Just Chatting stream. We had our jam. We had our fun. But I think that's what we're going to call it. I think that some are going to make fun of my heavy butt anytime I use the heavy butt. But nothing. Boobies are nice birds. Boobies are nice birds. They're very pretty birds. They also have the most unusual colors. But I'm looking to see if there's anybody that's jumping out at me who's live. That's right. We'll be back tomorrow doing CDT. I think tomorrow instead of, because I think on the schedule it says Warframe. But we made it today because I really wanted to play Warframe and I really wanted to farm some of those Dagoth parts. I think we're going to just yap tomorrow. I think we're going to do yap. I think we'll actually watch something. We'll probably do some tasting history tomorrow. Let's keep going. We'll play more later tonight. If you aren't in the Discord and you want a chance to come play with me then, I highly recommend joining the Discord. Let me go ahead and get y'all of that. But I'm trying to find some other people. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh my God, somebody is playing Detroit Become Human. But I'm not going to send y'all to them. There's some people I follow because I like their designs, not because I like them as a person. Actually, I know who we're going to raid. There's somebody else who's also playing Warframe. It's Grins. Grins is currently playing Warframe. Oh, he's playing Zaku. He's playing Spooky Scary Skeleton Boy. Bacon has been banned from the Carnival Super... Wait, when was Bacon banned? I didn't ban Bacon. I don't like Detroit Become Human. I like Detroit Become Human. We'll probably play it again because I have it for the PlayStation 4. And after the move, I'm going to break that out as well as the Switch and stuff and hook it up so that we're able to play that stuff on stream. I'm going to set up the capture card that I have because I bought it years ago. Like 2 years ago at this point, and I've never used it. Because I've just never bothered hooking it up because I don't have enough space on this desk to do that. But I think that's gonna be it. We'll do the brulee. We'll do the brulee. If you have a sub, which a lot of people here probably do at this point because of the Kappa train earlier, feel free to use the one with the actual crime brulee emote. If you don't, please use the crime please with the gold please. But I will see you guys tomorrow, noon CST, CDT. Central Time, US Central Time. I don't know if it's daylight savings or standard time right now. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. But I just sold my PS4 for 3DS. I also have a 3DS. It's actually like right here next to me. It's been plugged in for days to charge and I forgot I did that. But until then, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for enjoying the show. And thank you for all the help on the farming stuff in this game. And I guess the gifts too, because Jesus Christ, y'all been drowning me. But until then, guys, thank you so much. Good night. Sleep well. And go enjoy some disco.